Has
Here we are for
Gordo
part
moved?
two.
Yes, here we are for part two.
Gord's
This is
never looked so handsome.
I know. Well, he actually was suited up for his funereal
There he
thing
is.
today. So lots of advice for you, Gord. This is a special live stream edition.
Okay,
of
IT support has told me post the link in the app.
So the link is in the app. So
where do I find it in the app?
Mike says, go to the chat room and click on the link and minimize the view.
Okay, because that'll work with my phone. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. But if I want to do it on a pad and I just go into the app.
To the app. Oh, the Slack app, yeah.
No, not the Slack app. Racing Rant app.
No,
Racing Rant. Post the link there.
Racing Rant. Oh.
Why not post it in there?
All right. Yeah? Good idea. Yeah. Great idea, Gordon.
That's what IT support says. Tell him to use the app. You're supposed to use apps for everything.
All right. Everyone's going to be very impressed with the professionalism of this live stream, but that's the whole point about a live stream.
We're finding our feet.
While I'm doing that, Gord, why don't you tell everyone about your day?
Okay, yeah, I went to a funeral.
Who died, funeral?
Keepy.
Who died, Gord?
Keepy's dad. Bob.
Who's dad again?
Keepy.
Oh, Keepy's dad. That's right. Keepy's dad, died last week. I remember now. You tell me.
Yeah, Keepy has more bets per week than any person in the world. I'm not sure what his return on investment is, but I'd suggest not too good.
How'd it go for him the day of the family? All sweet?
Yeah, it was good. It was actually a really good day. Big turn up, and you hear stories.
Nice day to get buried.
Well, you hear a lot of stories that you never heard before when you're at places, when you're at a funeral. Like you hear about like the mischief they got up to when they were kids and all that kind of stuff. I find it fascinating. And the bit I love the most is those old photos from like the 50s and the 60s. It looks like another world, really. Yeah, so anyway, that was interesting.
Best wishes to Keepy. He's a good man, Keeps.
Yeah, he is.
How old was his dad? In his 80s or something?
76, 75, 76, something like that.
We're nearly 75 ourselves.
That's right.
I'm trying to work out what to do.
Time to move on. Time to tap out, Leinster, as you promised a long time ago. J-Mac asks, has Gordo moved to his winter office?
Oh, because of the jacket? No, just...
Funeral.
Well, to be honest, actually, yeah, I like this because I shut the door, which means that the missus has the whole house at 26 degrees. But if I go into the office and shut the door, it's a little bit cooler. So, and I don't like the dry heat of air conditioning.
Crookie says, was Glenister on John Rahm this week in the golf when he led by 6 with a round to go and got made to withdraw with a positive COVID test?
No, I wasn't, Crookie, and completely like an awful story for us. But I do believe a lot of the corporates, I think including the Tab, have paid out on him, which is nice. I don't think Betfair can because...
No, they can't.
Be nice to know he tested positive and then getting on the fair when he was $1.09.
Just imagine the angle on backing the other ones. Like, I'm not even saying laying.
On those games, Gord, there's 100,000 sitting there at $1.09.
Yeah, I know, but you're saying Betfair can't do that. Oh, yeah, Betfair, you get the money. Okay, yeah.
Lame.
Now, I'm saying you're doing more than that if you hear about it. You're getting every bloody bowler corporate you can and you're unloading on the other ones.
Yeah. Oh.
And you're laying on Betfair. You just want to, you get a positive value situation like that, you just got to unload everywhere. Get as much on as you can.
Mate, amazing story. Lose a tournament because of COVID. Wow. Bloody old COVID. Just it changes some people's lives, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're sitting here on Zoom, aren't we? And we used to sit in the park. Yeah.
All right, so Adam is still up on about T. Clark. He says, get the stats up for T. Clark, and I'd like to know if it's different or the same to the feel of how he goes, especially taking into account the lack of top jocks in Sydney lately. So I can tell you that T. Clark, last 2 years is 1,300 rides, minus 12% on turnover. That's
good.
That's
just
average. Well, that's okay. And last 6 months, 319 rides, minus 10%.
Same.
Last 2 months, minus 30%. So, but
okay, so it has come down a bit.
Well, he's just in a little bit of a trough.
Okay.
And I'd suggest that who was the one that posted that question, Mark?
Adam.
Because, Adam, I'm really concerned with short-term variation, because long-term variation is factored into price you get. Well, if you spot it early, that's where you can make money out of it.
All right. So T Clark Metro, 2 years, his strike rate's 11% and his pot's -13, and at the provincials his strike rate's 17% because he gets better rides, and his pot's -10%. So he's a sort
you
of
can't say that getting better rides, Mark, because the market adjusts for those kind of things as well. There's so many variables just in jockey form.
All right. So his pot's pretty much the same and his strike rate's 6% higher. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. And he's getting better rides, yeah.
Yeah, he's getting shorter price rides.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's, despite the fact that he's striking 6% better, his pot's pretty much the same. So it's adjusted for the market.
Yeah. And what are we all looking for?
I'm just watching the news in the background. You know that whale yesterday that got tied up? It's gone missing. About 50 people out there looking for it. What is wrong with this country? It's a fucking whale. What they should do is go fucking chase up some of these whale kids and get them running around Coogee Beach. That's my chance.
Well, I tell you what, swimming down to the Antarctic Ocean every year, that'll keep you fit.
Yeah. That gets rid of the blubber.
Yeah.
Kev says rumours are Glenn was on Verstappen overnight.
I don't even know what that means.
Oh, well, you can get something beat, is what he's saying.
Verstappen, what's Verstappen?
The Formula One.
Oh, I didn't know who he was. So it's okay. No, I wasn't. Right? No.
I heard a rumor that Kev was on Chelsea to finish in front of Man City too. I don't know.
Turbo says, why has Kev been hired by Racing Rant when he's best mates with Mark Guest?
He's not best mates with Mark Guest, is he?
They had some stuff going, didn't they? Wasn't there something going on with Western Australia and a complaint made about particular people? I think it was.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Anyway, we forgot about Kesty. We won
We're
that.
live. Got to be careful.
Yeah. So apparently Verstappen led to lap 47 of 51 and the tyre blew.
Oh, that's right. I saw that today. Yeah, I saw some. Yeah, he was going to win. Yeah, that. Now I get the joke. I was on him. Okay, yeah. I do cop all the bad beats, huh?
Willow says, this is the tip of the iceberg, boys. Can't wait for Racing Rant back at Racing Rant Park in front of a live audience. Well, this is the best.
Won't be happening. We've invited people for 10 years to come and visit. We've got about 2, Teen Queen and Dave Potter.
Oh, we did have old mate as well, who actually doesn't pay. That crazy fall race that we watched last week was from the Wuhan Festival. What a crazy coincidence that is.
Oh, how outstanding is that? Wow. And what's the Wuhan Festival? It's just a racing at Wuhan.
Oh,
No. They celebrate viruses. The virus celebration day for the world.
I did hear on one of the overseas joints that China had the antivirus before the virus came out.
Oh, the vaccine.
The vaccine. Yeah.
I was waiting for Glenn to say, when you asked him about what the festival was about, for him to say something like, "Oh, it's bat soup. It's just like all the bat soup in the world."
I'm a lot better boy these days. I have all my spies in at Racing New South Wales watching us, waiting for us to say one thing wrong.
So, are we actually going to do the normal thing right now?
We have started. We're away.
Okay.
We're awake.
We're away. Interspersed with questions from our audience. That's great.
Okay.
So let me show you something that, of course, is topical this week because old mate finally announced his retirement. He must have been forced to announce it by John Tapp. So here it is.
Greg Ryan, we're talking about, guy. He's gone.
There's a movie celebrating the fact. It's got Pierce Brosnan in it, The Lawnmower Man, one of the hottest science fiction films.
I love how it's one of the hottest science fiction films that'll blow your mind. Well, I've seen the hottest beep, 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 beep.
Yes, indeed. So Glenn knows he's on 20-second delay here, and so he's going to behave himself today for the audience. And they wish he wouldn't.
Good luck to Greg. See you later, mate. Thanks for riding. Good luck with your cutting down trees or whatever you're doing with your son. Anyway. Nice to be working with your son.
I know you guys sort of get a little. I just think I don't think there's a lot of stuff going on. but you guys lived out at the racetrack, so you'd probably have more of things.
Yeah, it's the gossip. It's the gossip room.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, like, well, you know what? If there is something dodgy going on, then how do you adjust your betting in order to take advantage of it? I never really worry about stuff going on.
I didn't say I was worried about it. Just said, see you later.
You've talked about it on the show for 10 years, mate.
I'm just saying, see you later.
Northern Pirates. You say it all the time.
They're actually pirates, though. I never talk about jockeys.
Rob says he's laying the 7 at Ballarat, and Willow wants to know how many sin bins will be on Wednesday night.
Oh, geez, Willow, I'm there. There'll be none, but wouldn't it be great if the refs did get their heads together and say, come on, we'll show Volandis what we can do. And there was like 3 and 2, 5 or something like, and with like 11 playing 10. What a great spectacle that would be. That would be so much fun. Like they're inherently low-scoring games.
But by the way, great point by Willow, because if you were going the over and under on the sin bins as far as just normal NRL matches is concerned, obviously you'd be going the overs, depending on the way they frame the market. But it's definitely going to, look, you've lost me. I don't know, Glenn's just staying really still.
I was just staying still. I'm here.
You know what I mean? Like I would say, like, could you imagine the line was, say, like 3 or something like that? Well, you'd have a really good bet on the unders. The State of Origin will be ref differently.
Anyway, PVL says, don't worry about the referees, lads. They're running a great program.
Well, I see he's got all the mothers behind him now, so that's the end of it. It'll just stay this way now. Once the mothers get in there, Pete, protect our sons.
Hey, the game that's most excited about is...
I've backed a horse in the last at Northern, if anybody wants to know. I've backed number 3, Spirited Session. There you go. If anybody wants to have something on the horse that is going to run a really good race.
They're not going to see it. Oh, because they're live. They can see it.
Yeah.
There's a suggestion that all the senior NRL players should strike and let the apprentices play like the Glenstar bad beat at Kembley many years ago.
Yeah, bad beat story, that.
All right, the John Walter story was big news last week. Racing New South Wales stewards today, that was last Tuesday.
Well, just let me jump in there, Mark. Was it big news? Like, seemed a bit brief, the charges and that. Like, where's all the bets? Can we read them?
Exactly. So
that's a great point, Glenn. You know, when you're rubbing these people out, show us the bets, mate. Yeah. I think that'll be valuable information.
All right,
I'd like
so
to
we'll right
see
into
the sizing of them and
into the stewards about the bets, because Hieronymus's bets were published, weren't they?
What's the difference?
Yeah, what's the difference? Exactly. He did details of the charge being that Mr. Walter did bet on 5 New South Wales races, 25 individual bets, being bets on races upon which a rider he represented held an engagement to ride in. Stewards issued a 6-month penalty, having considered the relevant matters below. 1, guilty plea and early assistance provided by Mr. Walter. 2, personal and professional circumstances. 3, a clean record. And 4, principles applied by stewards when issuing penalties for a serious offence of this kind. And 5, relevant circumstances of this case. So
it's not serious.
It's not serious. Don't ever plead guilty, and don't. Yeah. Look, it's just a.
I just want to see the bets, Mark. I want to see if he's having 50,000 on something, or whether he's having a couple of hundred on something. That's what I want to see.
Thing about
I think there's a bit of information in the bets too.
Yes.
Like as far as like form on our race from those bet periods, it should be transparent.
Yeah.
They don't mind writing up about me every time they charge me.
But of course, a disqualification in racing is akin to a jail sentence because you can't move a muscle.
I understand. Yeah. Well, it seems a long time to be without income, and anyway, he pled guilty, and there it is.
Adam says,
it is interesting. Sorry, mate. You suggested earlier on that he had, if there were futures bets and a couple of his jockeys happened to be riding, like, geez, that's rough to be rubbed out for 6 months, isn't it? You just like the run of a horse, and then you put a bet on in the futures. I mean, I don't bet futures. I think it's silly to do it, but if that's what he is doing and that's what he's got.
Oh, that was just that was a bit of a rumor going on, Gord. I don't think that could be right.
Because that's rough, man. You back a horse 3 months before the goddamn race, and then one of your jockeys you manage happens to be riding in that race later on.
You might have told him to get the ride, which would be the right way to play it. So hopefully, I don't think it could be that. But we don't know. That's why the bets should be listed.
Yeah.
The other thing is, of course, the rule was designed to catch him.
That's the most outrageous thing about it.
And
he's just gone there and said he's guilty, Mark.
And the other aspect of the ride is that Guesty and Wayne Harris and whoever else needed, Dean Lester, whoever else needed to tip for money, were exempted from the law.
Well, I think you're making far too much of that. The rule wasn't designed just to get John Walter. They just thought it was a good idea. I mean, that's inflating presence there.
It seems unfair to have a rule for one and not for the other.
What's the purpose of the exemption, Scored?
Well, what's the purpose of what John Walter can't have a bet, but Wayne Harris
created the rule because they wanted to go after John Walter. Why the hell would they do that? That just sounds silly to me.
Well, okay, so I put too fine a point on it. Basically, the rule came out of that situation that day with Heron, where John tipped Chester on his tipping service.
Yeah.
And that obviously got everyone very antsy.
Looked a pretty good tip to me.
Well, map orientated.
Yeah.
Track pattern bet.
He did his job correctly and then got into trouble.
All right. So you say, well, this is it. You know, we can't have any jockey managers tipping. But then you go, well, hang on, this jockey manager and that jockey manager over there, well, they're okay.
That seems wrong, Gord.
What?
That seems wrong.
Of course that's wrong. But by the way, I just don't get it, mate. I seriously just don't get the whole thing. Like, what was he doing putting bets on under his own name?
Oh, look, I don't get that either. Anyway, old mate wants to know. He thinks it's a good segue into the Shane Cullen departure, Glenn.
Yeah, apparently, Mr. Cullen, my spy's in there in the office. I've got a few. Tell me, Mr. Cullen was. He resigned on Friday, but all can't be possibly well because you cannot resign from a place on Friday, be there 30 years and walk straight out of the joint and not give any notice. Or they were scrambling to find stewards to run Corindai on Saturday, which was funny. Maybe that's why that horse got away with backing up in one day. No one even knew, Mark. The horse backed up from one day at Corindai to the next.
Yeah,
day.
I think that the stewards are antsy that, and they'll generally send the vet.
I thought you just weren't allowed to do it anymore, Mark.
You're not allowed to race on the same day, and you need special permission to back up.
Okay, but anyway, there's no stewards out there to check.
I love the fact you need special permission to back up the next day. And all of us will be back in the damn hall.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Anyway, the bottom line is he's not there, and I always found him to be a very angry, unpleasant person in any of my dealings with him. He just never seemed happy. So hopefully he finds a better life and gets away from racing. But obviously something's happened. We won't know about it. It'll all be whitewashed because no one leaves a job and doesn't give notice that's been there 30 years. You don't resign on a Friday. So it stinks of he's been asked to resign to me.
Okay, I have no
that's
idea.
That's my whispers.
I have no idea about the circumstance for this particular. I don't know him from a bar or sofa or whatever. But I've got a mate that had to leave the same day.
Had to leave? You mean fired?
Yeah, very high-paying job, and
it says something's gone on.
He was a little. It's got nothing to do with this case. I'm not saying that, but he'd taken the secretary out to dinner a few times, and hello, particularly because the CEO of the company actually had fancied the secretary, so that was probably a bad move on his part. He's on $500,000 a year. He lost his job.
Jesus.
Anyway, we've lost Mr. Cullen, so see you later.
And on the subject, further on the stewards, Peter W says, what about the 500 tactics changes before the meeting on Saturday? It's becoming ridiculous. Well, I'll just read you out an email from Punter Dave, who you all know in the chat room. He says, "G'day, team. After watching the last race at Roselle on Saturday, why do we even bother with speed maps and change of tactics? Majestic Shot was mapped to be taking cover in the running line, one out. Upon jumping, Reece Jones showed immediate intent on being more forward and eventually led. Why wasn't this move announced as a change of tactics? It's not like he came out of the gates and went, oh, I've jumped well, so I'll go forward. There was an obvious plan to go forward immediately, and Gord touched on this in part 1. I thought I'd have a look at the stewards' report to see if I missed a change of tactics. No. Thought I'd see a stewards' discussion with Reece Jones / connections of winner change of tactics. No. Instead, there was questions for Clippo, why he went for a run on the outside rather than the inside. Who cares? He wasn't good enough anyway. Even the stewards don't know what they're doing. Not surprised with that.
Well, the problem the stewards had at Rosehill is they were on the phone every half an hour to the people at Corindai telling them what to do. And there's not enough of them to go around anymore.
What do you mean? They don't need to do anything, Glenn. Their job is to just sit there and do bloody nothing.
I know.
Scan the horses, make sure it's the right goddamn horse, and then shut the fuck up. That's their job.
So that's the job of conservatives since time immemorial. You sit there and make sure of that. You just sit there. But they are interested in promoting a positive image for racing, or what they perceive to be a positive image for racing, which is why Ray Murray said horses aren't allowed to back up on the same day, and they need special permission to run the next day, and we've got whip rules, and we've got change of tactics rules. It's all about, look at us, aren't we doing an amazing job managing racing, when in fact the best indication of doing an amazing job managing racing is saying nothing.
Except when there's something obviously wrong. You check the betting, there's some crazy betting moves, there was some weird stuff going on as far as the map or the way a jockey rode, and then you inquire, and that's your job, guys, nothing else. Stay out of the game. You know, you see a lot of soccer coaches, Mark, they're there and they feel like they've got to do something to affect the game.
They've got to justify their position, really, is what they're saying.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, there's some sort of ego thing where I'm going to make a decision here that's going to make a difference. And sometimes, you know what, just sit back and let it happen. You know?
I know, the best referees control the game without being obvious.
Oh, of course. You shouldn't know they're there, should you?
But I was one of those referees that just had to get into the game.
Back
you go.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
you grade everybody up. Blokes didn't know which way they were running.
Lamborn, you know, wants to create this, and it's a beautiful narrative. He creates this beautiful narrative for this 50-1 shot should have been 40-1.
Anyway, let's just go through our talent. You're a pro soccer player X. You're an ex-ref, and I used to cut the oranges.
No, you're a one-time golf pro /
No, it wasn't.
Borderline professional. I don't know.
No, I wasn't.
I wasn't.
I was just a trainee. That doesn't mean anything. That couldn't get through his time.
It means you could hit the ball hard. Side note, says Punter Dave, thought it was a great ride by Reece, but would have been good to know it was happening. That is, abide by the rules, or scrap the maps, change of tactics. Cheers, guys. Keep up.
And I think that's a fair comment at the end. If they're going to make some questions, ask some hard questions about things that look a bit. I mean, bloody hell, the marketplace knew it was going to do it. 2 to 9 to 4.
That's what I was screaming blue murder in part 1, Glenn, because I'm like, if you didn't announce tactic change, because there was an announcement on this, and I had a saying I've got a 3 kilo claiming kid on a horse that's got early toe, I would have backed the horse. Next thing you know, it's dead set, so solid in the market, firming, and then it's aggressive, let him go to the front. No, they
tell me some big teams backed it away from the track.
Yeah,
I know who they are too. Good on them.
God, anyway, well, I'll tell you what, this live stream, we're going really well, but we're just borderline, I think. You know, we're just
borderline. Okay, what?
Well, we're ready.
We're not getting into trouble.
We're ready for a Dave Potter email.
You haven't done anything wrong.
Dave writes, hi, I'm not sure you got my point last week, old-time punting trainers being cheats. If a trainer gives a horse a run in order to set it up for a punt, it's considered a cheat, and that is what PVL has stamped out. But if a trainer gives a horse a run in order to set it for a Group 1 race, he's a great trainer. Really, what's the difference? Personally, I think racing was much healthier when punting trainers were king. Stewards and rule makers in racing are killing the sport. By making everything totally transparent, they're taking away all the mystery. Why men in civilized countries will go to strip shows? They want to see what women keep hidden. But what do natives look at when women walk around topless with a bone through their nose? They wait to see them without their nose bone so they can see under the nose. It's the forbidden fruit that always tastes the sweetest.
This is a new side to Dave I haven't heard before.
He's loving it, Dave.
I always remember the old saying, it's only a rort if you are not in it. Back in the 60s, I remember the buzz on track when a horse called Red Diver, I think having its first start, started firming from triple figures into single figures. I know I followed the money and it won. I reckon everyone on course backed it. That kind of feeling will beat watching Winks and Black Caviar any day of the week. The excitement was palpable almost 60 years later, and I still remember the day like it was yesterday. But it happened more than you would think. I could give you a list, but that would take too long. Glenn, I remember I wasn't there for Getting Closer. You probably were, but I was there for High Signal. I was just my jaw was on the ground.
It was one of the top 2 days at the track. Awesome. I was there for that. Fine Cotton. I was at Warwick Farm.
Yep, we were there as well.
Sometimes, yeah.
But that was a bit different because that wasn't a local ring. You sort of.
No, but it was still. You could still hear. You knew what was going on. It was just like there was a big ruckus going on over there.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be terrible for me because I like to disagree with the market. So could you imagine?
Well, if you laid Fine Cotton,
I'm backing the even money thing that's out to $5. I'm having the house on it.
There you go. And
yeah.
What about 200s into 7 to 4?
I'm going to be in very big trouble, Glenn. Very big trouble.
Probably won't happen again.
Dave says, I remember when Fred would be setting a horse up for a punt. One thing he used was unofficial barrier trials. Goulburn raced most Fridays from memory, and after the last, they'd hold a few barrier trials that weren't recorded, otherwise known as jump outs. Fred would arrange to trial a horse we were going to punt on against a horse several classes higher. He never tried to beat them, but if they were competitive, he knew the horse was good enough, and no one, not even the jockey and the beaten horse, knew who they were trialling against, as they were both Fred's horses. No race call, no colours, etc. So it is a jump out. He dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. The punt was nearly always first up, so he never had to give the horse a run in a race. He was smart. He didn't need to cheat. That was just one of the props he used to get the result. And he hardly ever had a good horse to do it with. Most of his horses were no good. So he needed to make sure they were peaked just to win a maiden, mostly the provincials, but back then you could get a decent bet on and do it anonymously. Contrary to the stupid fallacy in racing that says the hardest race to win is a maiden is the easiest race to win, and that is where you should get all the costs of buying/racing the horse back. Of course, you just have to pick the right maiden. It never even felt like gambling. How times have changed, and not for the better. I would love to live in the past, but hey, I did and loved it. Dave, P.S. Sorry for the length, but there are multiple stories in one email.
Dave, you can stop writing the P.S. because you write that every email.
And it just makes it longer.
The whole idea of saying sorry is
longer.
Yeah, but the whole idea of writing sorry is that you won't do it again. So you don't need to write sorry anymore because you will write it again.
Glenn, you say sorry all the time. Mark and I pull you up
sorry
all the time.
Sorry about that, do not.
Yeah, you do. You say it all the time. I don't say sorry. Let's just get on with it.
So there was a tweet from D. Byrne last week. He says,
I've asked a few blokes about this. It's very funny.
Tony Ward found these score sheets from a Wentworth Park test match between D. Byrne's staff and Mark Reed's staff about 35 years ago. Tony W., Mark Sheen, Glenn Munsey, Glenn Pollitt, Paul Byrne, Michael Fraser, Ross King, Nick and Grant Reed et al. So how did you get a gig in that, Glenn?
Haven't I told you about this tweet?
No.
Oh, didn't I tell you about this story?
I've never heard this.
We're all ears. Yeah. Come on, you on the cricket pitch. I've got to hear this.
Okay, so you'd like to hear it. Well, you know how I've always been a great believer, as you know, that there should be no such thing as like witnesses from years ago. You know, I go, well, how could that be a witness? No one remembers. You know, I've always said that.
Yeah.
So Dominic Byrne's got Dominic Byrne's got one of the best brains in racing, has done for a long time, and he's fucking clever he's just that clever. And that match was 35 years ago. In the mid-'80s, I did do some work for Dom for about 3 or 4 months, so that's all right. I've never played a game of cricket in my life. That's not me.
Well, you could have just lied. You could have just shut up and we all would have believed you.
He's got me up here. Some bloke got one bowled Glenn. That was not me.
But that could have been Munsey.
That could have been Munsey.
So we're looking at the score. So that's the
Tony Ward finished well, didn't he? 6-6-6-6.
He might have been keeping
Ross
the
King
score.
never got a bet. He never got a bat. And I do remember this being on, and I spoke to Mark Sheen, who was at the thing during the week. I rang Mick Fraser about it, and I spoke to Mark Sheen. And Mark Sheen, it was a day. He said, I saw that tweet. I don't remember you being there. He said, but I was pretty pissed. So we had a laugh about that, and I told him a story that I wasn't there. And then I told Mick Fraser. Mick Fraser rang me, and I said, he said, I saw this tweet. He said, I don't remember you being there, Glenn, so... I wasn't there, guys. I don't know how Dom's got that confused because he wrote Glenn Munsey and Glenn Pollard.
By the way, have a look at the way he bats, Dom.
Lots of singles.
Just like the way he punts, mate. Yeah,
Learner. He did start off with the 6.
Yeah, I know, that's strange, isn't it? Yeah.
Must have been a short boundary. All right, so that's clearing that up, isn't it?
So you thought I played cricket, did you, Mark? Exciting.
Lots of people have played cricket in those testimonial games.
No, but imagining me playing cricket, maybe I went and cut the oranges.
But also,
maybe you go and you bet on it, mate. You have prop bet.
But the other thing was we used to have Clark's cricket matches.
Yeah, they used to have them. I never went to those either.
But the thing about that particular cricket match is it was between the staffs of 2 bookies. So the bookies had staffs that were that big they could each field a team.
Yeah. We could do punters versus jockeys. You'd have enough jockeys, but you wouldn't have bowls and bouncers at JMac. But we wouldn't have enough punters.
Mm.
Oh, am I allowed to say that, Guest? I was just joking.
A bouncer and a jockey is called a full delivery.
Just a normal delivery, is that what you said? Oh, that's funny.
All right.
Tick like a duck, and we'd hit his wicket middle stump.
Kev says, taking Gordon in the last at Northam, go number 6, bring one home.
Oh, good on you. By the way, his is a lot more solid in the market than mine.
TQ wants us to look at Jay Collett.
And they're both wrong. Number 1, Choice Command win. Oh, you cannot believe it. And guess who came second? Spirited Session. So that was for Key because, Kiwi backs alliteration.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I tipped Spirited Session, but Choice Command won.
It's also alliteration.
He's had the Quinella. So there you go. Sometimes when your father passes away, things go your way.
All right. Well, TQ wants us to look at Jay Collett's ride on
Crosscheck, red and yellow colours, trained by Gary Moore, formerly a John O'Shea horse.
So it's back there in the yellow and red checked cap. If you can see
that's not it.
Which one do you reckon it is?
I thought it was one out, one back.
No, it was like mid. Oh.
Yeah,
sorry.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So it's red cap. You're right, Glenn.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark.
As usual.
Oh, I like the horse colours because when you watch the horse parade, you really get to learn the colours.
Yeah, that
makes sense.
Other horse was on the fence in the run. Yeah, it's got the yellow and red stripes.
Little white thing, little postage stamp there. It comes out, so it's presented.
So who is the horse behind it not getting a run? I'll have to consult my notes. Anyway, she says, just did not ride this horse out the last 150 metres, finishes 11th. So did get tightened there at the 150 and he just went, oh, well, that's enough.
Yeah, I got to say that's not acceptable, that wrong.
No mention of the steward's report. Of course, they did mention.
They were on the phone to Corindai by this stage. They were running 2 meetings on Saturday. Cullen was on the beach somewhere drinking pina coladas. He had a smile again. He was loving it.
Oh, that's good. Good for him, isn't it?
Oscar Zula.
The other horse was Dynamic Impact that got.
Yes, that's Dynamic Impact.
Dynamic Impact.
It'll go close next up wherever he puts it down. It's parading great, that horse.
Wasn't Oscar Zula? Isn't that T-Berry?
Yep, that's T. Well, he did ride 4 winners, Gord, so you're a big chance of nominating.
John O'Shea. T-Berry, Chris Waller.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Tycoonist, who should have won by 4 lengths, is Kathy O'Hara, Chris Waller.
Yeah, they did publish those riders on Wednesday.
Don't care. Doesn't matter when they're published. That's the way shit happens.
We've had a retirement in the Racing Rant ranks. Hard copy man. He says, "Hi Mark, hope you're well. Unfortunately, due to work circumstances, I won't be able to continue with hard copy man duties. Thanks so much for giving me this opportunity. Hope this doesn't cause too much hassle."
Oh well, fuck all that. Thank you so much. Trent's his name, isn't it?
Yep.
Thanks so much, Trent. Like, honestly, young bloke, did the hard copy. What an absolute bloody champion was. To anyone out there, like, he's a good style of young bloke and very young.
He loves it. He loves it.
But you know what I think is you have caused a massive drama, Trent.
Thanks.
You did a brilliant bloody job.
Thanks us to giving him the opportunity to type up shit for free.
And to collate all that information.
Good on you, Trent. Job. Like, you're a real ornament to the rant, and we appreciate it. And anything we can do going forward with you, you're in.
What's he
Yeah,
doing,
good.
Mark? Did he mention it?
He's doing
No, he hasn't mentioned. So Nigel, he's been on a bit of an adventure. You would be aware of that, Gord. He says, "Hi,
Yeah.
ranters. A few weeks ago, I noticed on the Inglis Digital site a 5% share in a city class horse called Usmanov. As I'd had a win on it recently, the horse owed me nothing, so I stumped up 4,500 to make the winning bid. On Saturday, I flew up in the morning and with the privilege of an owner's pass, swanned around the VIP areas, visited the stable, patted the horse, and was fortunate enough to see it win race 4. After the presentation, we went up to the winner's room, had a few champagnes with Trent Edmonds and connections, and kicked on afterwards at a table with one of the owners. Once the last was run and won, I was straight off to the airport to catch the 6 p.m. flight back, where I bumped into Duff and Greg Radley, who told me his sister also has a share in Grand Renoir. An adventurous
Oh,
and, needless to say, fantastic day out at the track. The next morning, I received the following update from Toby Edmonds, which gave me an insight into horse and trainer we don't often see. So let's see if I can actually find that, because I've now pushed that away. But here we go. I'm about to share with you what Nigel got from good old Toby Edmonds.
straight to the beach or the river the next day.
Got Uzi out here for a bit of R&R after his effort yesterday. Come through the run nicely, 8 by overnight. Probably head towards the Healy Stakes in 3 weeks' time. If we keep going with him, we'll just see how he does through the week though. But he's done pretty well. Happy with him, he's just down at the beach having a bit of R&R this morning. That's good. With his travel partner Harold, the Harabian.
Arabian, wow!
Well done yesterday. Thanks for your support.
That's just awesome feedback.
Isn't that brilliant? I'll tell you what, if there are clients out there that are watching this and see that, you'd want to give a horse to the guy, wouldn't you? Seriously, like, isn't that brilliant?
Yeah, well, I'm not
That's
backing him on a wet track. He's very slow in the ground. The Nigel goes on to say, I know I'm fortunate enough to punt for a living, but there is so much else I love about horse racing. And then he goes, P.S.
Yeah. This is a little dig at me and Gord.
Wait for this, Gord. So
You'll piss yourself, Gord.
he says, P.S. The following 2 horses are up for sale on Inglis Digital Wednesday have Glenn and Gord's name all over them.
He's a little shit stirrer, this Nigel.
What have we fucking got? Oh,
Napoleon
yeah.
Storm.
Oh, yeah. Well, can we?
That's it. What about the photos of it winning last start? But remember, it ran third, number 24.
Yeah.
Oh, they're too good. Look at it, just going to the post. There's 2 in front of it.
But you don't think it's guys? Who's going to spend any money on that horse? That's super exposed.
Yeah.
I suppose they have a price. They have a price.
No, but also I assume there's an owner that's ducked out and they're looking for a replacement. And here's one for you, Gord.
Unload. Buy it. Buy it. Does it still have its dick? If it's got its dick, I want to buy it.
Go buy it, Gord.
They don't neuter them, Gord. They're not.
Oh, sorry. If it's got its balls.
Castratis.
If it's got its dick and balls, buy the motherfucker.
They're not eunuchs.
That horse had some serious talent. I want to buy it. How much is it?
Well, there'd be
They
share
want $1,200 for 10%.
What?
I just made that up, Gord, to get you. I made it up, mate.
I'll buy 100% if that's the case. Fucking hell. That horse has talent, man. Like, different training regime, he could do something.
But it has been with Gerald Ryan and Annabelle Neesham. So
Exactly.
what are you thinking, Gord?
For
What
that,
style?
Cameron Crockett.
Pride. Give that
Might
horse
be an
some
Everest
pride.
horse.
He'll do something with it, man. Wow. I don't know how that thing. Oh, by the way, I haven't seen the medicals or anything like that. Maybe it's horse is fucked, but medicals. What do you call it?
Yeah, vets.
We're going all right. We've got a share in a horse that's had 1 start in a maiden for a 9th. That's missing an eye, but we're hanging in there.
By the way,
And it's got breathing problems.
By the way, Mornay's on the way back then. So that's our winner. We've had a few wins out of Mornay. Come back with lots of condition on it too, Matt told me. Which you'd like, Glenn.
Yeah. Who told that? Matt who?
Fuller?
Oh,
Yes, the managing part owner.
okay. Great. Because I thought you said Matt. I thought
Isn't
you
he
were Matt Taylor.
isn't he actually like really into the breeding game? It's like,
Yeah, he's got. I think
Pretty
he's got a
big
few
time,
running
isn't he?
around, hasn't he?
yeah.
That's good if it's got condition.
All right. Well, the week ahead there's a little bit of rain moving through on Wednesday.
We've got a Monday
And
meeting coming up too at Warwick Farm, guys, just so you know.
we do. So the weather will be okay for Saturday, but of course the sky will have fallen in before then. So I'm not saying heavy, but I'm not saying dry.
On Wednesday.
Wednesday. Let's just see where we're going for Wednesday.
I had to talk to a little birdie that declared a horse on Wednesday to me, Mark. I haven't done it yet.
All right. So Thursday is the rain event, although there's a late shower tomorrow. So Canterbury Wednesday, Randwick Saturday, and Warwick Farm Monday. It's a bit of a gala, isn't it, Glenn?
Bit of a gala. Looking forward to the meetings, and about a few winners on Saturday, which is all right. So that's good.
Oh, maybe I'll tell you what. You guys can give me your opinion here. Little Birdie, one of the best judges in Australia, only wanted to talk about one horse to me on Wednesday, and his Fast Coney. He's declaring it a dead set Monty J Mac Barrier 3.
And is it going up to 1550 or is it still back at 1250?
1100.
Oh.
Wow. Okay.
Anyway, we can talk about that for Wednesday's preview. I'm going.
Okay.
Good night,
guys.
You're
going, are you? Hang on.
I'm allowed to go early if it's live.
By the way, just having a look at that field, if it wasn't at Canterbury, I'd declare that number 7 Kinloch. That was a great run there. Anyway.
All right, that's a bit of early goss from Gord. He'll be back with a preview tomorrow. Glenn and I will be topping up on Wednesday, and we'll get into Canterbury and then Randwick June Stakes Day on Saturday. Thereafter, Warwick Farm Monday. This is a feast coming. Let us know what you think about this live stream.
I'd suggest you just say fucking terrible so far because we're ironing out the problems, aren't we?
I wouldn't say fucking terrible, Gord.
I can't see the question.
Yeah, well, that's the others can.
I don't want to know what they are.
Right, so meanwhile, we're going to put an end to this, and we'll be back, as I say, tomorrow night and Wednesday, so catch you then.
See you, boys. See you guys.
See you guys.